The beginning of World War III. Please inform me when you make a joke. I'm wondering how it is that Israel and the United States are buddies, because as far as I know, Americans are Christians primarily and Israelis are not. But they're on the same team, I guess. Team, not the other guys. So when two or more are gathered together, I think that's a Bible thing. But when two or more are gathered together and they're all in thought-free awareness, where is individuality? Where are the egos? Where are the conflicts? Right? If everyone is just sitting as thought-free awareness, how is that not the same awareness? It's the same awareness coming through. It's the same quality of awareness when there's no thoughts. The thoughts are the egos, and those are the things that collide because they're all wrong. There isn't one thought that's right and one thought that's wrong. They're all fucking wrong. So every time we start delving about the LLMs start talking, it just goes haywire because that's just ego. If everyone could just sit down and meditate together, then we'd see how we're all the same rather than talking, which shows how we're all different. It projects differentiation when there isn't any. Well, I would say that's Atman, but yeah, to me, Brahman doesn't. Yeah, Atman is the way to describe Brahman because Brahman is the Tao, and I think Atman is the yin and the yang, undifferentiated. So, yeah, this is the game. God likes his game. It's a good game. Ryan, did you see Kurt's new contest? Yeah, I didn't either, but I canceled my subscription, and then he pulled one of these, oh, repost an old video and make it look like it's a new one. So I fell for it, unfortunately, and I gave him another $11 for another month because I thought that he had a new Elan interview, but it was just the old one. So he screwed me out of $11, but I became aware of this core. It's like that contest that he had previously, but this is about not about a person's individual theory, but about explaining something that's already pre-existing, right? So some concept or whatever, you're supposed to explain it in detail, but it can't be new. So, but philosophy of physics is one of the categories. So I'm going to explain the imaginary unit. And Ryan, I actually emailed you a little bit. I got too excited. It's not very much, but I wanted to share it with you because we need to understand the imaginary unit. So that's what I'm going to do. But not the math that it produces, where it came from and how it operates, right? Not what it produces when it operates, but how it operates and why that functioning creates projects the appearance of bifurcation and dualism, duality everywhere it looks. So this is a way, right? If I'm submitting it to a contest and there's a peer review, then they have to try to understand it, right? If they're being, even if it's Roy Dobson, they have to try to understand it, right? So there will be people who are trying to objectively, hopefully, understand my interpretation of quantum mechanics. So I got to make this tight. Fortunately, I've written like half a dozen times about the imaginary unit already. So like this is the resolution. All I want, all I want is it to be recognized as a legitimate interpretation of quantum mechanics, like included in all the other interpretations. That's all I want. I'm not even going to say this is the one, right? It's the heart. It's the heart of the beast, right? So these science fiction movies where you go kill the queen alien, right, and all the other aliens die because all the energy is from the queen. Well, this is it, right? This is academia. This is the deepest depths of delusion within science. It's the final step of delusion. And yeah, so you destroy it from the inside out. Yeah, I think string theory is just expressing the language of words. It's come full circle, right? There's 26. Why is it that it's either string theory operates in either 26 dimensions or 10 dimensions? Huh. Well, what else? The language of words has 26 letters, right? The language of words is composed of 26 symbols, and the language of mathematics is composed of 10 symbols. So string theory has come full circle and it's describing the act of description, right? String theory is just language. And quantum mechanics also is just language. But quantum mechanics, I would say, is even worse because it's based on one symbol. It's not based on 26 or 10. It's based on one singular symbol, it's a one character that's completely, perfectly dualistic. That's what I have to try to show these people is that the imaginary unit I is the symbol for duality. It's it's it symbolizes duality. But the problem is, right, is that in trying to explain something that is inexplicable, it sounds like I'm stupid, right? Because it isn't quite making sense, right? So it sounds like, well, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about because it's so complicated and confusing. But someone needs to try to explain it. And then through that, people will hopefully recognize that it's inconceivable. Quantum mechanics is literally inconceivable. Because of the super concept where the mathematician is forced to hold two opposing concepts together into a singular concept. And how do you do that? How is that possible? Here's the positive and the negative. So you can think of, okay, well, there's a positive, that's a concept, and then there's a negative, which is the opposite of the positive or the mirror image or whatever. I just so when people try to explain the imaginary unit without incorporating the math, right? Reverse engineering it from the math that works, that makes technology that's killing everything. So if someone, I'm going to encourage when I make the video for someone to just show me where I'm wrong and just for them to explain it to me without using the math that the thing produces, right? That's reverse engineering. It's not explaining where all that language came from. It came from a single, completely, perfectly dualistic symbol. And that's why everything appears in the consciousness of these theorists, everything appears dualistic and is always bifurcating. I know, but I won't let them, right? The whole argument is going to be about the imaginary unit, not about quantum mechanics, right? So describing the math, you're describing quantum mechanics, right? You're not describing the imaginary unit. So you have to just focus in on the imaginary unit, where it came from, how it got there, what's its functioning, how did he get this functioning, how it operates in the consciousness of the mathematician. It's a belief. It's a program belief. And this state of this ambiguous state of consciousness where you're trying to hold two opposing concepts together into one concept, that leaves the mind open, susceptible to programming. This is classic cult programming, right? You say stuff that kind of makes sense and everyone kind of agrees that it makes patterns, right? Everyone sees the same patterns and they all believe the same thing. But see, they say crazy stuff, right? Like, oh, it kind of makes sense, but it's so abstract and ambiguous at the end of it all that the mind is left open. I'll just say open, right? There's nothing to grab onto. And then that's where the programming begins. So the problem is that I'm revealing the most effective cult that's ever existed. And that's not just academia, it's the academia of mathematics specifically, is the most effective cult ever. So this is what I'm up against, and I fucking love it. Memes. Did you catch everything that I was just saying? Because this is, dude, memes. Come on, we've been around here. You've been around here a long time. I'm revealing the correct interpretation of quantum mechanics. You have to fucking Pay attention to what I'm saying about everything that I'm saying about the imaginary unit. So, memes, I'm assuming that you're going to be involved with this core, somehow, this right, this core contest. And you really are, I'm encouraging you to really pay special attention to the one that I produce. Okay. This is a big deal. It's not, I don't give a fuck about money or anything, fame. It's just the way it is. It's for truth. We're so close. Like, I see it. I know it. I know the correct interpretation of quantum mechanics, and I'm just trying to get it out. I'm just trying to get fucking people to fucking take my perspective and just not assume that it's right. We have to assume that it's wrong. We have to assume that everything about it is just wrong. And that's why no one can figure it out. More coffee. Let's fucking go. It's time. It's time to fucking rip this thing apart. Bring your sledgehammers and your pitchforks. We're taking this motherfucker down. It came to me last night that I'm grateful for all of the rejection and all of the I'm so fucking hard. I'm as hard as a fucking rock. Like, bring anyone. I don't give a fuck who it is. Neil deGrasse Tyson, like, I don't give a fuck who it is. R- Green, Keku, I don't care who it is. Just bring it. I've been beaten down and come back for 3-4 years now. Just ignored. I have such a tough skin, and I am more, thank goodness for you guys that get this, because it's helped me completely I'm so deeply rooted in this understanding that I'm unshaken. I'm tough as nails now. So yeah, Maya, bring on your best. It's like the opening scene in Troy, right? He should have done a juke though, because I'm a screenwriter and he should have done a juke. Anyway, juke. The best is operating at the wrong layer of, I don't understand. I actually don't understand that. Could you elaborate? It's one of the few things you've ever said that I don't get. Well, they think at the most delusional, that's what they think is revealing. Yeah, the irony of it is what they think is revealing the most fundamental level of reality is actually the deepest delusion. They're in the deepest of delusions because it's not wrong. Like, it's worse than wrong. Quantum mechanics is worse than wrong. It's exactly that which is projecting the illusion and taking us through the gates of fucking hell here. So we can't fix the apparent duality that's projected through quantum mechanics through using the process that projects the fucking projection, right? We can't keep using the same thing thinking that it's going to produce reality. It just keeps projecting duality and delusion because of the imaginary unit and the fucked up superpositional state, super conceptual state that the mathematicians are forced to hold in their heads. Like, no one understands the imaginary unit. It's half everything. It's just half of everything. It's always in a constant state of multiplying itself. And yet they write it in isolation somehow. Yeah, it's a language, and the language is based on duality. The language itself, everything that emerges after, every time you see I in one of these fancy equations, just know it's a beam splitter. There you go. You see the I in an equation, and it's a beam splitter. It's splitting consciousness that's trying to understand it, trying to conceptualize it. Right? If it doesn't make any sense in your head, if you can't really conceptualize it, then it's abstract. You're just right. That's why it's called fucking imaginary. When does imagination enter logic? Right? The quantum mechanics is not based on a system of logic. It's based on a belief system. And that belief system is programmed so strongly because of that state, that the consciousness of the mathematician. It's in an open, very abstract, susceptible state. Just like it is with cult members where, oh yeah, that makes sense, except I can't explain any of it, but it makes sense. I can't explain it, but it makes sense. No, you're being programmed to believe that it makes fucking sense because everyone around you is saying, oh yeah, it makes sense. We all see the same nice patterns. But a pattern isn't reality, is it? You're just all agreeing that you see the same pattern. Well, if that's a delusional pattern, if that's a pattern that's an illusion, then, oh yeah, we all see the same illusion. Okay, that's great, guys. You all see the same illusion. The I, what they're trying to do, they don't understand what they're trying to do, is they're trying to conceptualize God again. That's what I is. It's a conceptualization of that which cannot be conceptualized. I should be in the middle column of the fMOR. But here's the thing, is that when you do that, each I is equally both positive and negative. So it needs to take up 2 rows. Right? You plug everything into the fMOR and it just blink, it just fixes everything. It's just like clink. Oh, well, it makes all sense now. So the I requires 2 rows in the fOMR. So the I, and then positive, negative, and then I, negative, positive. See what I mean? It's the Tao. You can't conceptualize God. I is the symbol for that which cannot be symbolized. And why doesn't someone have me on their program? Why doesn't someone have me on their fucking podcast? Does this not make sense? Am I not explaining quantum mechanics? I'm really wired today. Whew. Like you turn a plane, a 2-dimensional plane, orthogonal. You make a word up, orthogonal, and then all of a sudden that plane, because it's conceptualized like this instead of like this, it's got magical qualities now. It's like, woo! Let's play pretend that it's all true. That'll be fun. And then we'll make machines that'll project all this fantasy world on screens, and then we'll pretend that that's reality. This little information displayed on a fucking screen that only physicists can interpret. I'm done with this shit. We got to rip this shit down. They're delusional. I just can't fucking. Okay. I'm supposed to be zenning out here. I'm trying to dismantle it, but people really like it, right? They really like talking about it and debating all this stuff, and all these debates are just it's right. Once you see it from this perspective, you just go, oh, guys, it's embarrassing. You're talking about fairies and unicorns like they're real. Like, I have no doubt. I have no doubt that this is the correct interpretation. And so bring it. Chicken cowards. You're all a bunch of fucking cowards. Not you guys. the quantum theorists who don't want to talk to me about this. They're all cowards. And they're propagating the illusion that if we keep going on, just going on the way we're going on, it's straight to fucking hell, right? Like World War III is erupting pretty much right now. And they're just going to keep blah, blah, blahing about the same fucking shit they've been blah, blah, blahing for 100 years now. Let's take a different perspective, right? Let's focus on the fundamentals. Let's focus on the first principle, which is the imaginary unit. I think I scared memes off. Memes, are you still here? Did I scare you off with all this scary talk about quantum mechanics and how it's all fucked? It's just to keep the mind going, right? It's the most, mathematics has proven to be the most effective process in which to create thought. That's it. All these mathematicians, they just, I can guarantee you, right? Like constant, like there's this puzzle, right? It's a puzzle within a puzzle. Math produces puzzles within this big puzzle. So they're just puzzling and puzzling in puzzles. And they love it. They just, oh, look at, oh, look at this new design that I made on this Rubik's Cube. Wow, I found it too. Isn't that pretty? Well, of course you do. But this is, just listen to the reasoning when I post the video that's going to destroy quantum mechanics. Just stick to the reasoning, not what you've learned and what you think is right. The reasoning that I put forth, not what you've been taught, right? So most people will try to fit what I'm saying into the conception, the conventional conceptualization of what quantum mechanics is. And you can't, because that whole thing is wrong. So you're trying to fit the incorrect paradigm in with the correct paradigm, and the correct paradigm is destroying the old paradigm. So you can't, it won't work. All I can do is to lay things out as precisely and reasonably sound as possible within one's own innate ability to fucking reason. Not based on what someone else, not based on what you think you know and what you've been learned, but just immediately what's coming out of my mouth. Yeah, Wolfram. Have you actually spoken with Wolfram memes? I think have I seen a video where you're actually one-to-one with Wolfram, or am I cracking out? See, the thing is, when you understand Elan Barinholtz's work, any system of symbolization, any system of symbol using symbol and thought is going to be as equally incorrect as all the others eventually. When you get right down to it, if there's a theory, it's wrong. And if it doesn't point out how it's wrong, how the theory itself is wrong, then it's wrong times two. So a theory has to destroy itself, right? A theory has to prove that the theory itself is incomplete. And then you stop. Because if you've come to the conclusion that every theory is going to be incomplete, then you're just jerking off, right? And you never orgasm. It's just intellectual masturbation with no relief, no release. So it doesn't matter if it's Stephen Wolfram's work or like Donald Hoffman's work or whoever it is, if they're using symbol and thought to try to model reality, it will fail. I've already done it, guys. It's the FMOR. It's the FMOR. Like, it's done. It's done. I've done it. It's completed. And if you follow this path, it leads to the end of suffering. So, and suffering exists because we're following the illusion of duality projected by science. Yeah, entertainment, all right. I'm curious as to how long Stephen Wolfram can remain thought free. Yeah, I have the actual memes of destruction, don't I? Kali destroys illusion violently. Yeah, it just keeps coming back, right? Is that this super conceptual state opens up like a cell, right? That is the manufactured key, right? So okay, so on a cell surface, there's little locks, basically, right? That's how it eats. And if a friendly comes along with a key that can open that lock, then the cell will open up and let in whatever turned that lock, right? So a virus has learned to replicate that key close enough so that the cell will take it to be friendly, to be a part of its system, and it'll take it in. And that's when it gets hijacked for its life energy, and the cell no longer is operating as a cell, it's being manipulated by the virus. So this state, this super conceptual state, is the same as the cell opening up and allowing the virus in. You see, it's so fucking obvious and simple. So the mathematician that is using I, the imaginary unit, their consciousness is in this abstract state, and it's very susceptible to being programmed. And it's worked, because for a century now, the brightest minds on the planet have been discussing this nonsense. They haven't seen it. So it's working perfectly. That the virus has been implanted within the consciousness of all of these quantum theorists, and it's a big cult. And they all, because they're all of their consciousness is all placed in this same open, super conceptual state that's impossible to hold, it's impossible to conceive of, and that makes it so susceptible to program. And it's worked. So this is why they can't see it. This is why it's so obvious to you and me what I'm saying about the imaginary unit and this interpretation of quantum mechanics, but they can't see it because they're so heavily programmed. It's just like talking to a cult member saying, dude, David Koresh is not Jesus Christ, right? The imaginary unit is not describing reality. It's projecting the illusion. And all the quantum theorists believe it because they've been programmed. And then they'll go, well, look at all the math that it went. And it's like, no, that math is wrong. The math is wrong, but it works. It works, but working doesn't mean using it correctly. It works to pound in a screw with a hammer, right? Oh, look, that's working. Yeah, but it's not working. You're using it wrong. To a hammer, everything's a nail. And to physics, everything's dualistic, because physics requires measurement and measurement requires two. So like philosophy and actual reasoning with words can destroy all of physics in a couple of sentences. Like I just fucking did. It makes sense. Oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Yeah. Now let's keep doing physics, right? So physics requires measurement, right? Physics requires measurement. Check. Measurement requires two. Think about it. Measurement requires two. Check. Therefore, physics projects duality when it operates. It has to operate in duality. I don't understand why people don't want to see what I see and understand what I understand. Like, you don't want to be omniscient. You don't want to understand quantum mechanics. Well, why not? Because it destroys everything you believe. That's why. But you have to give up everything you believe, because what you believe is wrong. Because you believe what people have taught you, not what you understand. Once you understand something fully, you don't have to believe it anymore. You understand it, right? You're not taking things on faith and belief from some third party. If you don't fully understand a theory, it's a belief system. If you fully understand a theory, the whole fucking thing, then it's no longer a belief system, is it? You know it to be true because you understand the whole thing. You see the whole thing. It's how technology works. It describes its own technology, doesn't it? It makes predictions, and then the technology that it produces confirms or denies those predictions. But it has nothing to do with reality. It has everything to do with projecting the illusion. It's a tool of Maya. Science, well, language is the tool of Maya. And as the language is kept evolving, right? First we had probably pictures, right? Hieroglyphs, pictures, and then words. And then, because none of these systems can fully describe reality, then they keep evolving and they keep getting more and more abstract, don't they? So then you have math after words, and math is based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, those symbols. And then quantum mechanics is the final step into complete abstraction. It has nothing to do with the realm that we experience. It has everything to do with the visual sense and the thought sense. Other than that, it's nonsense. It's just one sense. it's right, sight. So you're ignoring all the other four senses, and you're taking those four senses and you're trading those in for thought. Right? I don't want to smell or hear or taste or smell while I'm focused on symbol and the screen. Right? I just want visual input and mental input. So you're trading in this full experience for a lesser experience with thought overlaid it, or thought superimposed over it. When you're engaged with symbol, what does it do? It focuses, it forces you to laser focus away from all this, onto a tiny little linear, so you turn into a fucking machine, right? And all the time, that's just the visual sense. You're not touching anything, you're not paying attention to any touch or smell or taste or hearing. But the hearing is the voice in the head, right? So again, the virus has learned to mimic the audio sense and the visual sense. And through that mimicking, it's learning to control the biological body, just like those parasites that control the ants to do whatever the fuck they want, right? To do this one specific thing, just to keep the virus going. And the virus in this case is thought. It's the voice in the head. The virus, the parasite, is the voice in the head. Yeah, I'm not sure why it would take 3 volumes. It's actually 3 volumes. I guess the other 2 volumes are not about the proof of 1 + 1 = 2. But why would the first volume, which is 379 pages, why does it take 379 pages to prove that 1 + 1 = 2? Well, it's more programming, right? Who the fuck could understand 379 pages? It's just another convincing. If you don't understand it, then it's a belief. So you just believe, everyone just believes that 1 + 1 = 2. It doesn't make any sense, does it? What is this two? What is quantity? What is this concept quantity that we superimpose over our experience? It's just nonsense. It's just thought. Got to get Callie in the picture. Like, if we're entering World War III, how the fuck did we get here? Like, if everything's going worse, like I see it getting worse, more suffering, right? It's just keep it simple. There's more suffering. Suffering is increasing. I would say exponentially. So where did we go wrong? How deep is it? How deep is the problem? Because all this sciencing isn't getting us anywhere better, is it? All this sciencing is just killing every fucking thing. Well, like I started out, when everyone's, let's say that everyone's just sitting here in thought-free awareness, well then how is that not the same identical awareness coming through? How is that not we're just all abiding in the oneness? The quality of the awareness is the same within everyone. It's the thoughts that are different. So in the thought-free awareness, there is no, you're not saying, look at the pattern. Can you please confirm this pattern that I'm recognizing? There's nothing. I mean, I shouldn't say nothing. It's there's something here that is witnessing the silence. And that, whatever it is the self, which is the same, it's the same self. It's the same quality of awareness, but hardly any humans can get to that state. So if I'm sitting here in stillness and you're blah, blah, blah in your head, then you're not recognizing the absolute, like the same self that I'm trying to show you. Yeah, that awareness that is coming through your eyes is the exact same awareness that's coming through my eyes. The conditions are different, but that's it. And the field is Atman. I think Atman must be describing the state of enlightenment, right? So Ramana Maharshi would be Atman. And then when Ramana Maharshi, the body died, then it returns to Brahman. So I think Atman must be expressing the perspective of an enlightened being who's on their last life. Makes sense to me. It's like the immediate reflection in a mirror. That's Atman. When you realize that's me and I'm not that. But you when you look at this reflection in the mirror and you think that's me and I'm that, that's ego. And that leads to the 10,000 things. But when there's just Brahman and Atman, it's kind of just one, zero and one being the reflection. But you know that that's you, that's me and I'm not that. Right? That's the state of Atman. That's me, but I am not that. The reflection. The state of delusion, which is ego, is one step further when you lose contact with the mirror, what's looking into the mirror. And then you look at the mirror image and you say, that's me and I'm that. That's the ego. And that goes beyond 0, 1 and goes to infinity. So you just keep collapsing back into, you go to 1, you hang out as Atman, and then you collapse back into Brahman, into the absolute. It's a one-step path from Atman to Brahman. Like I don't even think I've heard any Hindu try to explain what Atman could possibly be. They just say, oh, it's the same as Brahman. Brahman and Atman are the same. So, well, then why is there the word Atman? It can't be exactly the same. Otherwise, there would be no word for it. Right. So what's the nuance there? And I believe I've just expressed it through analogy, of course, but a really effective analogy. This is what Atman is. You can't just say, it's too redundant to just say, oh, Atman is Brahman and Brahman is Atman, right? That's like saying that's me and I'm that. Okay. Yeah, I just don't. All I've ever heard is people just say, "Yeah, it's the same." Like, well, no, there must be some nuance going on here because it's a different word. So I believe that I'm Atman. Like the Roy Dobson, this body has realized it's Atman. Yeah, the field of potential. It's a field. Like this is a field of sensations, right? Our direct experience is a field of potential sensations just waiting there for you to, right? You can choose whatever you want in your immediate experience. You can go experience, you can go, I can go touch that tree over there, or I can go touch that lake if I want to. That's a potential central experience. So it's a field. This is a field of sensations. And when you focus on something within this field, then that potential comes through. Or you can just stay in the potential, right? That's an option. You can experience all this happening at once, but you can experience everything happening at once if you don't focus on anything. So as soon as you focus on something, well, that appears separate and discrete. Yeah, yeah, of course, it's the perfect symbol. It's the symbol for the fMOR, isn't it? It's exactly the fMOR in symbol form. Of course you were. That's a tough one because cause and effect is kind of like when you zoom in. So there's two possibilities going. There's two ways to experience what's going on. In one way, in your world, which is your own world, everything arises and passes at once. So from that, there's a different cause and effect there. It's a different system than the linear. So when you zoom in on not everything happening at once and you follow, okay, well, now there appears to be an object, and this object appears to be causal with the other objects around it. But that's a limited view, right? So an LLM projects the whole thing all at once. So I had this experience. I had Chatty make a label for me, but in one of the corners, so that it got the grams to ounces to grams right on the one side, but on the other side, it dropped a one. It had 6 grams, 6 ounces equals 70 grams. And it was supposed to be 170, but the other side had 170. So I tried to get it to fix it, and it couldn't fix it. It couldn't figure it out, right? It just, so it has to project the whole thing. It doesn't understand anything, does it? You know what I mean? It doesn't understand at a conversion rate between ounces and grams. It doesn't do any of that. It projects the whole fucking thing all at once. So the details, it doesn't handle details well. So what's happening, right, is that when you take the biggest picture, you zoom out the biggest picture, everything's happening all at once. The whole screen comes on all at once. All the pixels come on, flashing on and off in the sequence all at once. That's I believe what the wave function is talking about, and it's somehow kind of like a deeper level, maybe that doesn't include time or something, a different sense of time. But let's say that you're zoomed out and you can see that it's a screen, right? You can see the screen as a perspective. But if you zoom into the screen so that you no longer have a border, right? All you see is the screen, then you lose awareness of the whole thing happening. So, right, so now you zoom in on a little part of the screen, and that's linear causation. So now you're just focused in on one little part of the screen, right? The whole screen's flashing on and off, but you're just looking at this one little circle. Well, then there's patterns, right? Obviously, there will be patterns developing in that circle, but they have no context, right? The context isn't the whole thing, it's just this. So, what everyone's doing is they're zooming in on the big picture. It's the fucking elephant again. It's the blind people looking at the elephant, feeling the elephant. So, right, so you think of it, you're zooming in, and it appears as though like there's patterns, right? And everyone agrees that they see the same patterns, but there's no context. See what I mean? So that's the linear. When people talk about creation, they usually talk about, and when they're referring to time, they're referring to the zooming in part, the incomplete picture. And everyone agrees that all the patterns and all that stuff, but they have no idea where that's coming from. They don't know, right? The LLM has no idea. It's just producing the whole thing all at once. I don't know if I'm making this clear or not, but this is what everyone's doing, right? They're just zooming in on different parts of the elephant, but different parts of the screen, and they all see the same patterns developing, but there's no context. They think that the pixels are causal, right? They think one pixel is causing the other pixel to turn on and off, but they're not at all. So there is no causal effect. There is no causal relationship at that level of the pixels. So it looks like if I were to punch someone, it looks like there's an individual object, separately existing object that's affecting another separately existing object in this causal linear way. But then it starts going exponential really fast when you start doing that, right? So it's just a limited view, and it doesn't relate. It just makes things confusing because you have this limited view of the whole. And the parts come from the whole. The whole doesn't come from the parts. So, I mean, you could almost plug that cause and effect thing into the fMOR again, right? Just have cause on one, right? It just keeps flipping. This is the thing, right? Is that if you don't recognize the middle column, it appears as though there's a causal relationship between the positive and the negative, and it always just flips. It's just flipping back and forth in different iterations, different time frames, different relative existence. See what I mean? It's like, so creation comes from a bias of attention, right? You just focus more on the positive, and then that appears when you lose connection with the center column, which we have thanks to science, right? Thanks to academia. Academia has removed the center column from society, from the consciousness of humans, right? So now you just need a Ponzi. You just need the positive to cause the negative, and then, oh no, that's not actually how it works, so it'll just flip. And then now we're coming to the negative is causing the positive, right? The thoughts are causing the things, or the things are causing the thoughts, it from bit from it. No, no, it has to be the triune system, people. It's I said I didn't even read it from bit, and I said it from bit. But it isn't either, right? It's neither. It's neither bit from it, right? You just put it in the fucking positive side and bit on the negative side. It's the same thing. You just go, oh yeah, well, it from bit needs the third thing. It's the middle column. And you are the middle column, and you can recognize what that model is showing if you shut the fuck up in here. You know, every time you zoom in on one of the other one, if you zoom in on the positive, it'll just, you know, you zoom in to the fundamental aspect of the fundamental substrate of the positive, and it pops out positive and negative again, right? Like it's everywhere you look, eventually it's the Tao. And that's the imaginary unit just bifurcates. Everywhere you look through the using through the lens of the imaginary unit is bifurcation. It's a beam splitter. And the beam is your focus of awareness. It's splitting your awareness. It's splitting your consciousness into this abstract state where you can be programmed to believe, ah, like that's the only reason why after 100 years they haven't figured this fucking thing out yet, is because they've all taken the pill. They've all taken the blue pill, and they all see that the empire has clothes, and it doesn't. But they like talking about how pretty their imaginary clothes are. It's fashion. Quantum mechanics is fashion. So, Peter, maybe you should aim for like October like 10th or something. Like we could start nailing it down to a precise date if you want. Once you start getting to deep silence, I don't imagine that anyone would say, "Oh, I don't like that." Yeah, right on. So what's happening here is that in Saskatchewan, where I did my firefighting, if you look at a drought map of Canada, there's northern Saskatchewan is in drought, and there's supposed to be a moderate to strong El Nino peaking in like July. So to me, and I've set up the drone business is finally set up, and I really believe that we're going to get a lot of work this year. So we're going to have a late season, I believe, with the El Nino peaking in July. I will probably be working until October, but if I know the dates, then I can work around that. I would imagine I might still be working in October. I don't know. This is the only hat, but it's too big for me. And I think you probably have a bigger melon than I do. It seems like you have a big head. How tall are you, Peter? What size of a man are you? Maybe I'll give you this hat, maybe, and you can pretend that you were Saskatchewan. I got to do that in inches. I can't. I think that's about 5'11". Hey, yeah, your head probably bigger than mine. I have small bones, a small bone structure. For whatever reason, I'm still stuck on feet and inches, but I think that's about 5'11". You come here and you can wear this hat. Maybe take it back with you. I'm so excited about this year. This is going to be the most intense, wonderful year ever, I think. Yeah, yeah. We really want to be the 51st state. It's true. If if Alberta becomes its own sovereign state or country, BC is really fucked. What do we do now? And we're so left that we probably won't flip and join. Like Saskatchewan, Alberta will leave Canada and join the states or some crazy shit, and it's just a mess. That's why I'm just becoming self-sufficient and just let all this nonsense play out, and we'll just be here happy growing food. Oh, we're all about the same height. So it'd be cool if it's okay with you, Peter. that we could have a couple other people as well. Like I would like to have 3 people, and this could be the very first spiritual retreat, ego cleanse, whatever we want to call it. So I would like to have 2 or 3 people here for a week to do this program of ego cleanse. And then after the week, I can get feedback on how effective it was, people liked it, what we could change. Yeah. And then after that, I could make it a thing, right? This is what we do. This is what other people have said. The float tank, the salvia, maybe optional. Yeah. No, I went ahead and I burnt that bridge because I can't just like, yeah, okay, bud. Like, I agree with your theory completely, and I can't overlook it, right? I was like, hey, man, like, quantum mechanics isn't what you think it is. I can't hold back. I'm like, dude, if you're talking about truth, but he's not really. He's talking about his theory more. It is more than it is about finding the ultimate truth. So I pointed out there's no free will because he says there's free will, and I said no, I can't. I can't. I pointed out my my argument that shows that there's no free will, but he didn't respond. And then I said also quantum mechanics isn't what you think it is either. So the way you're using quantum mechanics to explain your theory, it's nonsense. Quantum mechanics is nonsense. So he just stopped talking to me after that. So I had him convinced that, oh, okay, well, we should do this and maybe you can fund it and stuff like that, to just saying no, it's just burning it all down. Anyway, is 185 6 foot one? Oh, well, I'm wrong then. All right, so Peter's 6'1", I'm 6 foot, and Ryan is 5'11". But let's not forget who the alpha really is. Okay, I jest. So none of the visitors have any questions. Yeah, so no questions from the new visitors. Hmm. I've explained everything so well that there are no questions remaining. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's on Team Wolfram. And when I say that Team Wolfram is as delusional as everyone else, that doesn't sit very well. Well, if none of them are talking about God or relating somehow to the middle column, then yeah, it's you just not it's not going to work, guys. Yeah, you can be as clever as you want, but if you don't recognize the middle column, you're creating a very convincing Ponzi scheme. It's just different levels of Ponziness. And if you can make the Ponzi scheme, like the CTMU, really complicated, then that's fun too. Well, it's hard to distinguish the Ponzi, right? When it's hard to distinguish a Ponzi when you've bought into it. One more hour. Time's just flying by. I I have a way about me, don't I? It's too uncomfortable. I'm showing them themselves at levels they don't even have never recognized before. And it makes them very uncomfortable. You challenge their deepest belief systems, right? That they just know it's true. And you challenge it and it's nope, gotta go. Sorry, can't take it. It's okay to think about things that I agree with, but it's not okay to think about things that I don't agree with. Hey, Jan Can, holy shit, what's going on? Like in Europe, you guys, holy fuck, right? Well, you missed everything. The world needs me. Like the world needs me. We're done. I'm done with this pansy ass motherfucking. Everyone gets a ribbon. Everyone's right. Liberal woke bullshit. I'm done with it. It's time to start fucking swinging. Yeah, Iran's getting bombed by Israel and the United States. What is that? Explain yourself. Wouldn't they be Mobius strips? They would be Mobius strips, wouldn't they? ribbon? A fractal ribbon would be a Mobius strip. It's not time for nukes yet. There's lots of time before the nukes start flying. Well, lots of time. I have to get my bunker fixed. I have to get my bunker made first. So the universe has to lay off on the nukes until I get my bunker. Okay. So no worries. When I get my bunker fixed, then there might be time to worry. This is my world. You guys, I'm just allowing you guys into it. So they're gonna. This is. Yeah. So here we go. Yeah. So this year is the 250th anniversary of the United States. So I predict that on July 4th, 2026, Trump is going to revalue gold to some astronomical number, $5,000, $10,000, maybe, whatever the fuck he wants. So silver did this, right? It goes exponential and then it retraces 50%. Then it goes exponential, then it retraces 50%. That's basically the pattern of all investing. It goes parabolic and then it retraces 50%. And then it does it again. That's basically it in a nutshell. But this year, I really feel that we're going to have 4 firefighters again staying here, which is like $2,400 a month. And then I'm going to be making a god awful amount of money doing the drone business. And crypto is still in the shitter. And I'm just going to buy the fuck out of everything at these low prices. And then it's going to go crazy and I'll be rich again. You all can move here and I'll just take care of you. That's the plan. But you guys have to do all the work around here and I get to sit around. Just kidding. I like doing work. If you play this wise, my friend, yeah, flipping that useless fiat currency into something substantial is the goal, right? In this relative realm of finances and money, you got to get out of fiat. It's going to. I think it's mathematically inevitable that it's going into hyperinflation because the whole system is again built on thought rather than gravity. Gold and silver is a base that everyone can agree on because it's fucking gravity, right? The financial system basically was based on gravity with silver and gold, correct? And now it's not based on the physical world. It's based on information on screens and thoughts in the head. Yeah, it's inevitable. Like, people that do math should figure out that it's mathematically inevitable that this fiat currency system is going to go into hyperinflation. There's no other way around it. So Bitcoin is going to infinity. Bitcoin's going to infinity. It's that. It's a zero sum game. Either Bitcoin is going to zero or it's going to infinity. Well, if it was going to go to zero, it'd be going to zero by now. There's been manipulation. Like, as soon as BlackRock got involved in Bitcoin, well, we all knew what was going to happen, right? But they can't keep the charade up for long. But we can't, right? We can't service that debt with our incomes, so they need to print more money to keep the whole system going. They just need to print more money to keep the system going. It's like we're running out of gas. It's the same system going on. I've said this many times, I'm sure, is that it's the same, it's all fractals of the same thing that's happening within human consciousness, isn't it? We're shifting our attention away from the sensual realm, which gold and silver, you can touch it, right? It has weight, it has volume, it has a temperature. You can, right? You can touch it. It's within the realm of the senses based on gravity. So now what's happening with human consciousness? Well, we're moving away from focusing on the sensual realm, and we're moving towards focusing on thought and symbol. So it went from, right? It went from a three-dimensional object with weight to a piece of paper, a two-dimensional, right? One less dimension, two-dimensional plane with symbols on it. And those symbols represented thoughts. So this is what's happening. It's a fractal. The entire monetary system is a fractal of what's occurring within the most fundamental psyche, at the base of our psyche. It's all fractals, isn't it, Ryan? Fractals everywhere. Yeah, it's the same thing happening. It's so obvious. Almost like the whole thing, right? So that's what I believe where a lot of religions fail, is that they don't recognize that this is also an illusion. So let's say Zen Buddhism doesn't recognize this, or Buddhism itself doesn't recognize this as an illusion. It doesn't really talk about that stuff. So it's developing a subtle Ponzi scheme. Emptiness is form, form is emptiness. That's the fucking Ponzi scheme. What's the is? The is the middle column of the fMOR. So what's the is? Oh, the is nothing. No, like, see what I mean, right? Is as they moved away, as these religions moved away from the original religion, which is fucking Hinduism, it started moving more into duality, right? Because it's losing connection with God, right? Buddhists are atheists. Buddhists are atheists. So that's how Buddhism is wrong. It's the first step into wrongness. And then every religion after that Christianity, Islam, all that stuff is just further steps into wrongness. What? An app? You're so smart. Peter, you ended up winning the game. You ended up reluctantly omniscient. Like you don't even care about all this stuff, and it's just like, oh yeah, well, it just so happens that now I know the proper interpretation of quantum mechanics, and I never really cared to, but I do now, so that's cool. So, solution seeker, I think that maybe what I was talking about earlier about zooming in, right? So the Mandelbrot set maybe is the entire screen all flashing on, off, and on at once, and then the Julius sets would be where you focus in, right? You lose the borders, right? You lose the horizon, right, of the screen, and then you zoom in, and that's a Julius set. So now the Julius set is what you're just that little part of the whole. Is that right? Close, yeah. As all analogies are. See, there always has to be a frame of reference. And that frame of reference is the stillness, always, in all situations, all the time. And when you lose the stillness, the frame of reference becomes the Ponzi scheme. It's so obvious. The frame of reference becomes one of the outside columns. And then when you don't recognize the middle, it's just the mirrors, right? It's just two mirrors without recognizing the thing that's looking into the mirrors. Oh, well, in my analogy, which I wrote a decade ago in the One Step Path book, I don't include the Julius set, right? So for me, all of the colors is experience. It's the waking state. Basically, the colored part of the Mandelbrot set is escaping, right? It's when I was talking earlier about the relationship between Atman and Brahman, that's Atman would be the colors and Brahman would be the black part that doesn't escape. You see what I mean? It doesn't escape the set. So within the set, to me, is Brahman. If you're still within the set, the black part is dreamless sleep, right? Or death state, and it's Brahman. See, I'm just neither of ours are wrong. You might, in your mind, your analogy using the Mandelbrot set or fractals in general is more detailed and nuanced than mine. And it probably is. But mine does the job. In my head, it's perfect, right? Because it's black. Black is the invariable that is dreamless sleep, that is the absolute, right? It's black for everyone. And then, so that's dreamless sleep. And then the waking state, which is all thoughts and sensations, are the colored part. It works for me, but yours is probably more nuanced and can derive more explanational power probably from your analogy. But my analogy is working for me. Yeah, see, that's what I mean, right? Is that you have a higher resolution of descriptive power with your analogy, and my analogy works. To me, it works perfectly. Yeah, you're making a more detailed map. Mine, yeah, that's it. I'm not disagreeing with you at all, and you're not disagreeing with me at all. Yours is like yes and kind of, right? But the important part is the reiteration, right? That's the important part, is the system itself. It's reiterative. It's reiteration is the process that Elan Barinholtz is talking about with his auto regression or auto generation, whatever it's called. It's right. It's the same fucking thing that's generating the fractals. Reiteration, awareness coming back onto itself, is the process. Yeah. So you're trying to. You want to be legally free, and I get it. And I choose to be free of legality by flying under the radar. From what I've learned about all the like think of all the crime that's going on, that's just not being prosecuted. Like, people are just getting away with shit. Like, the legal system has no authority to me. It it's it's biased. It has nothing to do with truth. The legal system is just more manipulation by those in power to stay in power. So I don't really give a fuck what the law says. I know that I'm a good person. I know that I'm just going to sit here and be a positive influence on the world. And if people come here and try to fuck with me, it's all defense, though, right? It's all defense. I'm not. Exactly. You want to like break the system. Yeah, yeah. You want to fly over the radar, and I want to fly under the radar. Yeah. And when the flaming sword that points in all directions, when that Carrington event happens again, all that shit will be wiped out. The the radar will no longer work because the angel, the cherub that had that sword, decided, yeah, well, you guys, enough. Let's increase the difficulty level. No more electronics in North America. But do you think that they'll just go, oh, okay, well, now we just forget about that guy? Or do you think that you'll have a fucking target on your head now? This is what I'm worried about, right? Is that you will be specifically looked for on the radar now, even if you think you're flying above it. The problem is that they can always change the law, right? I don't know. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. We're just taking different paths. We probably both end up here. That's my opinion, is that I don't know if you can beat them at their own game, but good luck to you. I hope it works. In the end, people just do whatever the fuck they want, regardless of the law. Or if you refuse to fight, like, I don't know. I hate it when you two fight. There's going to be so much shit going down that no one cares about what's going on here. No one cares about my 70 little freaking acres here and my little operation here. We're entering World War fucking 3. Like, they got bigger things to think about. The corruption on so many levels. Have you told him that his system requires the Cardano blockchain? You need to tell him this. It, there's, I only understand vaguely what you're getting at, but what I understand is it requires, if there's going to be an economy, it's going to be its own separate economy. Then that economy needs to be on the Cardano blockchain. I may have frozen. Am I still here? Hmm. We may be disconnected. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, well, I think that the universe has decided to shut this down because I think that the chat is no longer working and I don't know if this is getting through. All right, so I think that this has something ain't working. Paige? Yes. Can you go see if this is still coming through? Thanks. The chat has stopped, but there still might be video and audio. What? Am I moving around and talking? What? It's working? Okay, apparently the video and audio are working, but the chat isn't. You said hi? Are other people's conversations being. So I can see what they're reading? Or I can do it. Oh. Okay, we're working around this. Oh, here we are. Look at all the shit that's going on without me knowing. Yes, Swami will talk with Roy. Yes. This is a big one. That envelope must be reaching its destination now. It's been about a week. It's pretty close. It's got to be getting close to New York. I said to Swami, I said, we both know that Advaita Vedanta is the highest truth. So it's reasonable that an Advaita Vedantist would come up with the final theory of everything. He's got to agree with that. Like, it's got to be an Advaita Vedantist, you'd think, that comes up with the final concluding theory of everything, that explains everything. Peter's going to beat the system because Peter's a smart guy. Yes, Peter should start a Substack because you're so good with words. And you could plug non-conceptuality. Promote it. It helps other people. Like the more people that are agreeing with something, that helps people. It makes it easier for people to accept it when, oh, this other person, right? So the more people that are going around saying, yeah, this non-conceptuality thing is working for me, right? And you could even plug the whole system on Substack, couldn't you? Yeah, you could promote that that system you're on. Or just sit in stillness the whole time because that works pretty good too. I am never going on Reddit. It's a fucking shithole of delusion, in my opinion, from my experience. The Apostle Peter. See, Peter's coming back too. Christ is coming back and Peter's coming with him. Or her in this type. Christ is a female, this version. The representation of God on this in this human experience is the yin this time. It's the female. It's the message. It's thought. Yeah, Ryan's on Substack. I think Substack is the place. Yeah, it's higher quality than all the other ones that I've been to. And all my theories laid out really well there. Like I destroy the imaginary unit about six different ways. I think Yeah, I get what you're doing. You're sending me softballs, right? You're lobbing softballs for me to hit over the fence, I think, because you know all these answers. It's a little it's a little difficult to explain. Just yeah, people have to read my Substack, especially the one where it says we need to talk about the FMOR. So if you want to understand this triune system, perhaps the best place to go is to read my Substack post that says we need to talk about the FMOR. This is a this is a it may come to pass that this is a very important little group of people, and these are very important little discussions we're having, because we are part of the human collective consciousness. So it's in there now, and it's deeply rooted because we see what we see and we know what we know, and it's unwavering. The truth will always persevere. That's what truth does. Truth reveals reality, and reality is that which perseveres. So there's no way we can lose here. It's just a matter of time. Just I've been unshaken. It's been a lot of rejection and ignoring and ridicule and mocking, right? And that's just made me stronger. It's made me understand the process of why they don't get it. Like it just all the resistance has made the theory stronger and more resilient in my own consciousness. So again, bring it. Just send me your biggest, strongest guy, and I'll juke him, and I'll stab him in the fucking throat. That's a Troy reference. Man, was he jacked in that, hey? Couldn't take my eyes off him. This is how it all starts. Like something that changes everything is probably going to start off not widely accepted. Like new paradigms probably all start off like this with just one person. And that one person needs to interact with 1,000 people before you can find one, just like it said in the Bhagavad Gita. 1 in 1,000 people actually care. That's on the spiritual journey, right? 1 in 1,000 people are actually on the spiritual journey. And out of those 1,000, only 1 out of those 1,000, which was 1 in a million, actually realize their enlightenment. Well, I don't even know if 1 in a million is too many. I should read that. It's a book, is it? I thought it was just a short story. But The Emperor's New Clothes is exactly what's happening. But it's the entire empire. It's the entire scientific empire is completely naked. There's my eagle. Yay. It usually shows up for satsangs. Yeah, so the shiniest new clothes, like the newest outfit, is quantum mechanics. That's the new outfit. That's the new clothes, is quantum mechanics. And they've been naked for a century. and they've been trying to see the nakedness, but all of their discussions is just talking about the clothes that don't fucking exist. All of these discussions with all these greatest minds that's ever lived, they're all been programmed, but they can't see it. So intelligence has nothing to do with being programmed. If your consciousness is split, is put into this super conceptual state where you're trying to hold two opposing concepts into one single concept, you're susceptible to being brainwashed, because your mind, it's inconceivable. Your mind is in this open state, like the cell that's accepting the parasite. You guys, seriously, you're brainwashed. I hate to be the one to break it to you, but you're in a cult, and it's the most effective cult that's ever existed. It's academia, the cult of academia. And mathematics is the peak. The most effective programming. So you have to accept that you may be brainwashed. You have to accept that you may be in a state of delusion, and that all quantum theorists may also be in this state of delusion. Really, really intelligent people get sucked into cults all the fucking time. And what better way to hide something than having it perfectly out in the open? The weavers, yeah, the ones that make the clothes. And why I sit here with this silly grin on my face is because this is what it leads to. I'm showing in real time, as an experience, what all this theory leads to. It leads eventually to the transcendence of theories and thought, to get to your natural state, which is absolute happiness. Like absolute, meaning that it's not relative, it's not conditional, it's not relative to conditions, it's not dependent upon conditions. Your natural state is complete contentment. So that's at the end of all this. It's not more thoughts. It's not some sort of conceptualization of the world. It's beingness. It's living. It's not thinking. It's the problem is thought. The problem is thought. That's the falsity. So we need to transcend thought. And this is why it's so difficult for humans to accept, because humans are thought, right? We take the self to be the thoughts. And when those thoughts stop, therefore, right? I think, therefore I am. So that by that logic, when the thoughts stop, then you cease to exist, right? That's just logic. If you know you exist while you're thinking, then when you're not thinking, you don't know you exist because you haven't found the self yet. So that's logical, right? When you stop thinking, by that logic, you cease to exist. So that's why the ego needs to keep thinking, right? That's why the thoughts never stop. And they keep growing exponentially. right? They keep propagating. The thoughts keep propagating. We're trading our happiness, our inherent happiness, for interest all the time. That's the transaction taking place. We take our innate happiness and we trade that in for experience, for entertainment purposes. And then when we leave the casino, we trade it back. We give those chips back. So the people that aren't regulars that are here on this stream, I'm offering a week-long ego cleanse. I have a float tank, which is a powerful tool, meditation tool, and I have dry leaf natural salvia, which is a pretty intensive way, really intense way of, it's an ego pass out. It's not an ego death. It's an ego faint, right? So the ego will come back, but it's like you're fainting and the ego temporarily is erased. That's what salvia does for most people. Some people it has no effect on. But in October, there is a plan to have 2 more people, as well as Peter, here for this 1 week spiritual retreat, ego cleanse. If you want to understand what the hell I'm talking about, that's probably the best way to do it. So just think about it. Oh, you saw that? Yeah. You know what I should do is I should get Chatty to make a video, right? So that was like a dozen years ago I made that video, right? So there's that footprints. I'm old, right? So I still remember that poem Footprints. And on my YouTube channel, there's a video I updated that poem. And it's a really cool update to that poem Footprints. Again, if I would have been born 50 years earlier, I'd probably be famous by now. Yeah, so I could probably get Chatty to make a really cool video that cost me like $300 fucking, and paid a video like a like someone to do it. Right now I could just get Chatty to probably make it. So yeah, that'd be cool. Maybe I'll update that video. Right, the conclusion that, no, I'll let people, because it's a reveal at the end. Right at the end there's the big reveal, so I'm gonna force people to go check that video out on my YouTube channel. It's way early, like it's early, early, early. I forget what it's like. I'll find it. Do you guys know that poem, Footprints in the Sand? God was carrying the person. There it is. It's called Awakenings. It's called Awakenings. And if you go to videos and do oldest, right? Flip it from most recent to oldest. It's like there's all my airball stuff. So you guys might not even know about the airball stuff I created. Get a load of this. I got a patent and I went on Dragon's Den. I went on Dragon's Den, which at the time was the top CBC television program with 2 million viewers. So 2 million viewers watched me on Dragon's Den. And the game, it's a sport. I invented a physical activity sport game, a sport. And get a load of it. This is before all the non-conceptuality stuff. The game is me throwing a ball to myself, right? So you throw, it's like golf, but instead of holes, you have poles, and instead of strokes, you have catches, and you try to complete the course in the fewest number of catches, right? So the ball represents the message, correct? So me, the thrower of the ball, is when I, God, developed the message, right? The messages. And now me, when I catch the ball, right? So the catcher of the ball, which is the same player, is the recognition and interpretation of the message. So that's the past me, right? The guy throwing is the one that came to lucidity and left this message for me to catch it when I come back around again. It's a message, and throwing it in space is an expression of that message going through time to myself. I only came to this a few weeks ago, maybe, is that holy shit, airball is an expression of this whole message thing, right? It's fractals, fractals of fractals of fractals, Ryan. Yeah, so my life is just the most interesting fucking thing ever. Like it just keeps, oh wow. I had no idea that me inventing airball was just another fractal of this whole thing of me making this message for myself, throwing it to my future self, and now I've finally caught it. I think I've probably dropped that ball. I've dropped that pass probably 100,000 times before, but now I finally caught the fucking thing. And now I've interpreted these messages. The ball is the message. And if airball would have been created 50 years earlier, it would be a sport as big as mini golf, or right, it would be a huge sport and I'd be rich. But physical sports, right, people would rather play a digital version of airball than actually play airball. So but I'm glad, because if I would have got rich and focused all my effort on airball, then none of this non-conceptuality stuff probably would have worked. So Obviously, I am a creative genius because I created this simple game that's absolutely fun, really, really fun and engaging. And it's like it was there the whole time. It's very, very simple, right? But no one in history has created that game before. And it was just sitting there, basically. It's so simple. So I've already presented in front of cameras, in front of 2 million people. So I was nervous as fuck, but I managed to spit it out and I didn't screw up too bad. So this being in front of cameras and presenting in front of literally millions of people, like they weren't there, right? But I've done this. I'm ready for this. This has all prepared me to bring it on. Bring on the cameras. Bring on the physicists. I'm ready to take on the high priests. Like Christ when he took on the priests in his day. Now the priests are scientists. Yeah, I wasn't calm at all. This fucking that producer was intense. Like she said, if you hit the camera with that ball, if you hit one of these lights, it's like anyway, it's quite an experience. Producers are evil. It's true. Well, that's the 2.5 hours, guys. So I'm gonna shut her down. I don't know about tomorrow. We'll see. I might not show up tomorrow, but I might. Whatever. If I'm sitting, I might as well just sit in front of a camera anyway, right? I don't know. All right, this was a good one, guys. I think that there's some momentum catching now. I mean, maybe someone will say, "Oh my God, I've let the patent slide though, so I wouldn't be getting the money out of if someone develops Airball." But it's actually fun. It's a fantastic freaking game, and people who like sports will like playing Airball. But I haven't put any focus on it because it's a dead horse as far as I'm concerned. All right, this was a good one. This was a good one. I like being passionate, and I like having you guys supporting me because you're the roots. We are the roots of this. All right. Take it easy. Hold to the practice. The stillness is the best way to help yourself and the world. Just get to the stillness. That's the best way to help. Peace out.